Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see by the title of this video, this is going to be a very exciting video. I have literally bought so many books recently, it is actually kind of ridiculous. So not long ago I uploaded a secondhand book haul that I did. Since then I've also thrifted a whole heap, and then I've also bought a whole heap of them on like Marketplace and stuff. So I literally have, I don't know if I'm going to even be able to show you guys, this whole stack here, and also, holy heck, this is so heavy, this stack here. So we have a lot of books to get through in this video. I have been watching a lot of Rachel Catherine's book videos that she's been doing, and so I feel like a lot of these are like Booktok books that are like really popular at the moment and that everybody seems to be reading. So I half blame that, but then I also am like, a lot of these were cheap, like, well, cheaper than buying full price. Did a bit of damage, but I'm also really excited to read all of these books. I do want to reorganize our bookshelf, and I do actually need to get another bookshelf. I'm thinking of filming that as well, so let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing that video. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into this video. So I may as well just start with one side and then go to the other stack. So I have some standalones, and I also have some series as well to share with you guys, and I will let you guys know the price of everything as well. The first one that I've picked up is Verity by Colleen Hoover. Now this is a thriller from Colleen Hoover. I have read November 9 by Colleen Hoover and I did really like it, and I have started It Ends With Us as well, but I've like gone on a binge and bought so many of her books because I did enjoy the way that she wrote November 9. But this one here is a thriller, so I think the premise of this essentially is like this author goes to like another author's house to finish her book because this author is sick and she can't finish her book, and I think she then like uncovers a lot of secrets about this author, and then I think she ends up falling for a husband and like all that kind of thing. So it seems really interesting. I know a lot of people really love this. So this one I found on Facebook Marketplace for $10, which is great because in Wickles I think this is about $25 to $28. And it has been so hard to buy this on Marketplace because anytime someone lists it, it sells just like that. So I'm so happy I finally got my hands on it, and I am super excited to read this one. So next up we have the last 3 books in a series. So I managed to find the last 3 Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children books. I am so happy about, because these books are really hard to find on Marketplace. I'm able to find like the first 3, but like the last 3 books seem really difficult to find. I actually bought these 2 together, so books 5 and 4 together, and then I think book 6 I bought separately. So I'll talk about these 2. So I have read the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is the first book. I've read the second book, which is called Hollow City, and I've read the third book as well, which is called Library of Souls. And these are written by Ransom Riggs, and the thing that I really like about these books is that they have like these photographs. Some of them look normal and some of them are just like really odd, like all these, and they're actually real photos, and he's crafted the stories around these photos. So the 4th book is The Map of Days, the 5th book is The Conference of the Birds, and then the 6th book is The Desolations of Devil's Acre. They also do have a little novella called Tales of the Peculiar, which I actually managed to find at the library as like one of the library discards, so that's really cool. I have no idea like what category it falls into in terms of like genre, but it's kind of set in the real world, but then has some kind of like almost like magical elements. I took a pause on reading the series because I didn't want it to be over too quickly, but yeah, I'm happy that I have the last 3 now, and I think I want to get this series finished before the end of this year. These 2 here I found on Facebook Marketplace, and it cost me $10 for both, which is great because one of these in Wickles cost $25, so super happy about that. The only thing that kind of annoys me is that this is the only cover that's not like fully black and white, with all of the other books as well. Like even Brand New, this one is still like an off yellowy kind of color, which I feel like will have some significance, but it just kind of annoys me. I also managed to find the 6th book. So this was from a different seller, and she was just selling like a whole heap of just random books, and I saw this in there and I was like, oh my gosh, like, can I please get this one? Like, it's the last one I need to finish my series. This one again was on Facebook Marketplace. It was $5, and then she was like, oh, if there's anything else that you see in the listing that you want, let me know and I'll chuck it in for free. So I was like, amazing, like I absolutely have to pick another one. And so the other one that I picked is this one here. So this one is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. We have Ready Player 1 on our shelf. Phil actually bought it, I think, or we found it like secondhand or something, and originally we got it for him. But I really enjoyed the movie for Ready Player 1, like a lot more than I thought I would. So I do want to read the book, and now we have the 2nd book as well, and I thought this will be one that Phil can read as well. I'm just so stoked, like, you just can't go wrong. Okay, the next 2 books that I have to share with you guys, I again got from the same seller, but they are by the same author, so I thought I would put them together. So I managed to get these 2 books here. Again, I found them on Facebook Marketplace. They were $10 each, which isn't too bad considering, again, at Wickles, one of them is like $25. So I got One of Us is Next by Karen McManus. I have got One of Us is lying on my shelf, and I have read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this is the 2nd book here, which I'm super excited to have. I've watched the TV show, like both season 1 and 2, and it is so good. I would highly recommend you watch it if you haven't. I saw that she was selling this one, so I thought I'd grab this too. This is Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. I'm not sure if it's the same series or if it's just like companion novels that take place in the same setting but have different characters. I'm not sure. I do really like Karen McManus's writing. Next up, we're gonna jump back to Colleen Hoover. So I also managed to find Someone Selling Layla by Colleen Hoover. I'd heard like a couple of people talk about this book and it sounded really interesting, but it's one of those ones that I feel like is kind of under the radar a little bit for Colleen Hoover. And I think this is a thriller. It just says love can haunt or heal. It seems like this guy and this girl meet. The girl ends up like fighting for her life. The girl recovers, but then I think there's like some mental stuff that's not quite right, and then after like she comes back from the hospital and like recovers physically, there's like some weird like bizarre mental things that happens to her, and I think this guy is trying to figure out what has gone wrong with her. So it seems really interesting. This one was $15 on Facebook Marketplace, so a little bit more pricey, but also like I barely even see this like in Wickles or on Facebook Marketplace, so I wanted to grab it when I saw it. A lot of these as well were local in Auckland, so a lot of them I just went to go and pick up as well. So we're going to stick with the thrillers again. So the next thriller I have is this one here. So this one is The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney. It says everything that's yours was once hers. So I heard Rachel Catherine rave about this book, and so I thought I would grab it and give it a read. I think basically what happens is this guy builds this house and he does it up as kind of like a rental property, and so this girl like obviously needs a place to rent, and so this guy gives her this house. It's like cheap rent as well, but she just has to follow like a list of guidelines that's left by the guy that owns the house, like with how she's to live in this house. And then I think it's like okay for a little bit, but then she realizes that the girl that was living or like renting out this place before her, she has passed away. They're not sure whether her death was accidental or on purpose, so I think it's like this girl who is now renting out this house trying to figure out what the heck happened to the girl that was living there before. So I thought it would be a really interesting read. I like the cover as well. I like that it's just the red writing and then just like the black and white. I think it's quite cool. Obviously it was bought on Facebook Marketplace. I think all of these books were bought on Facebook Marketplace. This one was $10 and it was with the same seller as this one, and I got both of them for $20. So I'll talk about this one in a second, but yeah, $10, that's not too bad. The next book that I have to talk about is this one here. So this one is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Now I have started watching the movie for this. I have not finished it, but basically it follows this girl who lives in this marshland. So a marsh is kind of like a swamp. We don't really call them marshes, we call them swamps here in New Zealand. Yeah, this girl just lives out of town in the swamp, and it kind of just follows her growing up. So far I am enjoying the movie. It's different to what I expected, and I think like the main kind of plot behind it is obviously like her learning to grow up and all that kind of thing, but they also find a body in the marsh, and so they think that she has killed this person, so they're trying to prove that she did, and she's trying to prove that she didn't. So it's kind of like, yeah, like a coming of age kind of story, but also kind of like a murder mystery. This one was $8 as well, so I thought that was such a good deal. Kmart now stocks this book. I think it's about $15 at Kmart. Next up we have a Christian book. So actually a few of these books weren't bought on Marketplace, and this one was actually purchased from the Evermore Christian Bookshop, which is a bookshop that has opened up here in Auckland. I think it's in Mount Ross School, but it's massive, and they've got like fiction books, and then they've also got like just classic Christian books. They've got Bibles, they've got kids books, like they've got heaps. It's all really affordable. So Phil and I, we made a trip there, and I managed to find this book here, which was on my list of books to try and find. And this one is The Masterpiece by Francine Rivers. Again, I don't really know too much about what this book is about, but I've just heard Rachel Catherine say that she really enjoyed this book, so I thought I would give it a go. I haven't read anything by Francine Rivers before, so yeah, I'm excited to give it a go. I love the cover as well. I think the cover is really pretty. Francine Rivers is a Christian author. You can obviously read her books if you aren't Christian as well. So this one on the inside said $6, but the lady actually priced it for $4 just because the cover is kind of like, you know, peeling upwards. Like, it's not in the best nick, so the lady gave it to me for $4, which I feel like is great. I mean, I would have paid $6 for it. Like, $6 is nothing, so yeah, super duper happy to have this, and yeah, to give it a go. The next book that I have to show you guys again is another thriller, and it is this one here. Now this one is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. It says A Missing Girl, A Buried Secret. So this one again was a Marketplace find for only $3. And I actually purchased this from the same seller as a few other books that I will show you guys in my thrift haul. This one again was on my list to get because I'd heard Rachel Catherine rave about this book, and I think basically what happens is, I think it's told from the mum's point of view, where she has a daughter who goes missing, and then she kind of like tries to like pick herself up and heal after her daughter goes missing, and also like find her daughter as well. And then she ends up falling in love with this guy who has a daughter that looks exactly like her missing child. So I thought it would be a really interesting read. I haven't read anything by Lisa Jewell before, but when I put this on my Instagram story, I got a couple of messages from people being like, oh my gosh, I love Lisa Jewell's like writing, and her books are great. And then the last book that I have in this first stash to show you guys is another one of Karen McManus's book. So this one here is The Cousins. Now again, I purely bought this off of Rachel Catherine's recommendation. This one's quite cool because the pages are black, and then with her other book, the Two Can Keep a Secret book, the pages are blue. So I just think it's like quite cool how like the pages are different colors. She did a reading vlog where she read this book, and she said she thoroughly enjoyed it, so I was like, cool, you've sold me. I will go out and I will buy this book. This one I think is a very similar vibe to the Inheritance Games, where I think this family go to this island because their grandmother has died, and so they're trying to like sort out her will and like what's in her will, but I think different family members get more than others, and I think they're just trying to figure out why, and it's kind of like this big competition thing or something. I haven't read the Inheritance Games yet, but I feel like I'm gonna really like it, and like I said, I really enjoyed One of Us Is Lying by this author. This one again was $8 off of Facebook Marketplace. This one I actually picked up in Taranaki. So when Phil and I were going down to Wellington to see my sister and to go to a baby shower, we went through Taranaki to see Phil's family and friends, and so I picked it up on the way. Alright, now we move into this big stash here. The first book that I have in this second stash is Normal People by Sally Rooney. So again, a lot of people have been raving about this book, so I knew that I needed to read it. I don't really know too much about what it's about. I just know that a lot of people have been raving about this book. So this one I obviously managed to get with The Girl Before from the same seller. So it cost me $10, which is great because a lot of people on Marketplace are pricing this at like $20 and higher because they know that it's really popular as of right now. I got the one with the green cover, which is cool. I know it does also have a red cover as well. The next book we have is the infamous The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which again has had so much hype recently and I've just not read it. So this one is written by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've also got another book by her, which is One True Loves, that I haven't read yet, but I'm super excited to read. This one I wasn't sure if I would like or not, just because I'm not really used to like reading things from like ages ago, because I think this one is set in the 1950s to the 1980s. But basically it just tells the story of Evelyn Hugo, and I think she's like a Hollywood actress or something, and so like it just follows like her life of like glitz and glam back in the 1950s to the 1980s. Obviously follows like the 7 different husbands that she has as well. I thought I would give it a go. I don't know if it's going to quite be my thing, but I might also be surprised. But this one, the seller was selling really cheap as well because she has written in it as well. It's not like a lot, but like a couple of the pages she has like underline a couple of things, which I don't really care about because it's not like every page. There's like this one which has like the most, but like other than that, like it's not even that much, so I didn't really care, to be honest. I just really wanted the book, and again a lot of people on Marketplace are pricing this high because Booktok is like all over this at the moment. So this one I did have to get shipped to me because I think the seller was in Hamilton. So this one cost me $16 including postage. So I feel like that's pretty good. And Whitcoulls is charging like $25 for this. Next up we have a more recent book that I have bought off of Marketplace, and that is this one here. So this one is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. So basically it tells the story of Tiffy and Leon, who share this flat. It's like a 1-bedroom flat, and they've never met. So Tiffy, I think, works the night shift and Leon works the day shift. So they sleep there when the other person is working, and they've just never met. And I thought that was such an interesting concept. I know a lot of people, again, when I put this on my Instagram, messaged me saying that they read this and absolutely loved it. So I'm super excited to read this. I know it's also had a lot of hype at the moment from Booktok. Again, I tried to buy this on Marketplace so many times and it was always sold out. I also have purchased Road Trips by this author as well because I think that's a really interesting concept. It kind of gives me the same kind of vibes as Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, which is one of my most favorite books of all time, just without the like thriller aspect of it. So really hope I like this author because I now have 3 books by her. I've got another one down here that I'll talk to you guys about in a second. Love the cover, it is so beautiful. This one was $15, so a little bit more on the expensive side, but also I can't find this cheaper on Marketplace than $15, and in Whitcoulls it's about $25. And then the next 2 books are the last 2 Christian books that I found when I got this book here from the Evermore Christian bookshop, and they have these 2 here. So this one was on my list to get, and then this one is like the sequel book because they're like a little duology set, so I thought I'd get them both. So we have this one here, which is If I Were God I'd End All the Pain by John Dixon, and this one is If I Were God I'd Make Myself Clearer. So I thought these were a great one to read. I feel like a lot of people struggle with like, if God is a loving God, why does he allow all the pain and suffering in this world, and why doesn't he make himself clearer? I thought these would be a great one to have in our collection of Christian books, and I also thought these would be a good one to lend out to people, or like if we have friends who are like interested in Christianity that want to know about these topics, because I feel like these 2 are like big topics. The books are super short as well. Like this one only has 73 pages and this other one has like 85. So they will be super duper quick reads. I could literally read this in a day if I wanted to. These were $4 each as well, so I thought I will have them in my collection. They're also like really nice and like thin on the shelf as well, so they don't take up too much room. The next book that I have to show you guys is the chunkiest book that I have to show you guys, but it's also a book that I am so excited for, and that is this one here. So this one is Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. So this is kind of like the last book in the Twilight series, but it's the first book written from Edward's point of view. So contrary to popular belief, I actually really enjoyed the Twilight series. I read them all in high school. So there's 4 books. There's Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. And then they've also got like a little kind of novella book, which is The Second Short Life of Brie Tanner, which I again read in high school. I've also got their illustrated guide as well, which kind of explains like common questions people have about Twilight. Recently, Stephenie Meyer brought out Midnight Sun, so I feel like she was always working on Midnight Sun, because when she published Twilight, in the back of that book and like the special editions, there's a couple of chapters from Midnight Sun. So I feel like it's been a work in progress, but it is literally really chunky. Like, how many pages are in this book? 755. But I really wanted to get my hands on it because it is the last book and the only book that I haven't read in the Twilight series. I do quite like the cover as well. I think it's very interesting, and then it goes really nicely with all of the other ones as well. And this one I managed to find on Facebook Marketplace, and it was only $15, so I thought that was great. This one has the Whitcool sticker on the back, which it sells for $30 at Whitcool's, so basically got this for half price, which I am super duper happy to have. These next 2 books are again part of a series, and were the last ones I needed to finish my series. I managed to get both of these books from the same seller. So these books are the 2nd and the 4th book in the Hush Hush series. So I bought Hush Hush, which is the first book, in a Lions book sale haul like a few years ago, and then I didn't realize that it was like a series. Like, there's 4 books in the series, so I haven't read it yet. Like I said, I read Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. I was like, okay, I need to read more from her, so I bought Hush Hush. And then recently I managed to find Silence, which is the 3rd book in the Hush Hush series. So I needed books 2 and 4 to complete my series in the middle. So Crescendo is the 2nd book, and then Finale is the 4th book, which you could probably gather by the name. Again, I can't really remember too much about what the series is about. I think it's just kind of like a fantasy series, or like magical realism kind of series. Similar vibes to the Mortal Instruments from what the back says, but I'm super happy to have these. I managed to find a seller who was selling like literally every single book, and I was like, would you mind splitting up the series so I can get books 2 and 4? And thankfully she was okay with that, because these again are really hard to find, and when I do find them on Marketplace they go really quickly. A lot of people just have all of the books and they don't want to break up the set, which is understandable, but I'm also like, I really want to finish my set. Both of these I again had to get posted, so I paid $27 including postage for both of these. So again, a little bit more pricey, but also that does include postage, which I feel like isn't too bad. The next book that I have to share with you guys is the last one by Beth O'Leary that I have, and this is The No Show by Beth O'Leary. Again, I think the cover is so stunning, very cute. Basically, it just tells the story of 3 girls who get stood up on Valentine's Day. And so I just thought it would be a nice light-hearted read. I'm guessing that they all end up doing something together, but I'm also not 100% sure. This one I also looked at buying in Whitcool's, but it was $35 in Whitcool's, which is a lot. This one was $15 on Marketplace, so that is way better than $35. So yeah, I'm again very excited to read this. Now we're almost done. I have a series that I'm about to show you guys and one standalone book to finish this video off. So I managed to find the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy on Facebook Marketplace. So all from the same seller, which is great. So the first book obviously is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is written by Holly Jackson. The second book is Good Girl Bad Blood. And then the last book is As Good as Dead. I think the premise of this is this girl, I'm not sure if she's in high school or college, but she, I think, has to, for one of her classes, has to look at a case. I think it was solved, and so she was kind of like looking into it, looking at the evidence, and she's got to write a paper on it. But then the more she looks at the evidence, the more she realizes that the person they've convicted doesn't really add up to the evidence. and then I think she actually wants to get the case reopened and reevaluated. This trilogy has had a lot of hype recently with like Booktok. I don't have TikTok, but like everything that ends up on Booktok ends up on YouTube as well, so that's where I see it, and so I thought I would give it a go. I quite like the concept. I think the concept's really interesting, so hopefully I will like this trilogy. And I managed to get all 3 of these books for $30, which is great because in Wickles this box set cost $60, so basically got it for half price, and again it was here in Auckland, so I just went to go and pick it up. And then the last book that I have for this video, and the last book I have to share with you guys, is this one here. So this one is Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. Again, I can't really remember too much about what this is about, but it's Colleen Hoover, so I thought I would get it. Again, this book has had a lot of hype recently with Booktok, so I thought I would give it a go. This one again was only $5, and they actually dropped it into Phil's work because they were in the area, so I was like, awesome, don't have to go and pick it up. So that was really sweet of them. They were really lovely people to deal with as well on Marketplace. So there we go, guys. Those are all of the books that I have found secondhand that haven't been from like thrift stores. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing all of the books that I have picked up. If you guys have read any of the books that I have hauled today, let me know your thoughts down below. Please don't share any spoilers. Just give me a like, oh my gosh, you're gonna love this book, or like, oh my gosh, this book is my favorite book of all time. Just no spoilers, please, because that will completely ruin it for me. I'm really excited for all of these books. I have a lot of reading to do. I am getting back into my reading, which is really nice. I'm in quite a regular routine now with my books, which I love because I read so much in high school, but I feel like after school life just gets really busy and it can be really hard to find time to read. If you guys do want to see more book videos and you want to see me kind of organizing my bookshelves, let me know. Phil and I, who is my husband by the way, we are both big readers, so we both have a lot of books between the 2 of us. I'm currently planning one for like new books that I've bought, like new that I can't find in any thrift stores or on Marketplace, so that will be coming. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please make sure to turn on the notifications and check out my social media. It's always linked down below in the description box. Yeah, if you guys do want to watch more like thrifting secondhand videos, I have a whole playlist. I'll leave that playlist down below and in the eye for you guys as well. I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye!